What's going on, YouTube? Americans love crossovers, and when it comes to CUVs, Toyota is one of the brands doing the most. Their lineup is full of options galore, and most recently, they turned their legendary Corolla sedan into one as well. But that also means that there is some overlap, and the new Corolla Cross certainly has some people wondering if they should save some money and pick it over the best-selling RAV4. So which of these two siblings represents the best value for your money? Let's go ahead and find out. So first off, let's talk pricing, as that is a main difference between these two SUVs. Starting with the updated RAV4, we have the sporty, yet high-end XSE trim level. Toyota offers quite a few options, and our tester checked off most of them, making its total price $41,985 after destination. The smaller Corolla Cross is positioned below the RAV4 in terms of size and price. In its equivalent XSE trim level, it comes in with an as-tested price of $35,565 after about $3,000 of options. If you're new to our comparisons, we do them in an objective way. We have done our best to weigh the points awarded throughout in major and minor categories, but at the end we will sum up with our thoughts and account for that $6,000 price difference. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Seeing these two side by side, you'll notice that they share some family resemblance, but the Corolla Cross has its own flavor. It features an aggressive blacked out lower fascia that extends all the way to the ground, while the RAV4 has a tougher and boxier overall look. We won't be awarding points based on design, but as far as features, we have projector LED lighting on both. There are some differences though. Only the Corolla Cross has adaptive abilities and LED fog lamps, and only the RAV4 has premium LED accent lighting. Continuing to the sides, the RAV4 is bigger than the Corolla Cross, but not by as much as you might think. It's only about 4 inches longer overall, and both feature two-tone roofs and nice 18-inch alloy wheels as equipped. The only thing worth mentioning is that the RAV4 XSE includes premium gloss black wheel surrounds compared to matte black ones on the Corolla Cross. Rolling on through the exteriors, we have the rear designs. The RAV4 has more style back here, but features-wise they are very similar. Both have partially LED taillights and exposed wipers, but only the RAV4 has dual exposed exhaust outlets. For towing, the bigger RAV4 can handle about 15% more weight at 1,750 pounds versus the CC's 1,500 pounds. Now moving on to some of the individual odd and end features. Both Toyotas have the same mirrors with LED turn signals, heating, and blind spot monitoring. And one of the really nice things about both crossovers is that Toyota includes all 4 of your major active safety features as standard equipment, and their warranties are the same as expected. But things are going to get even more interesting on the inside, so let's get into that. But first,
we want to take a second to tell you about a really cool cashback app called Upside. They've partnered with over 25,000 gas stations and 30,000 other businesses so that you can save money each time you use the app. The process is super simple. All you have to do is claim the offer in the app, choose a credit or debit card, and then proceed to purchase as normal.
we use Upside to buy premium gas for the BMW, and we recently saved 53 cents a gallon, which adds up to be a lot of money over the thousands of miles we drive.
And this is real cash back too. You can cash out anytime you want directly into your checking account, PayPal, or through gift cards such as Amazon. And who doesn't want to save money? Even if it's just to buy another car you probably don't need.
To get started, download the free Upside app. Use our promo code CARCONFECTIONS and get an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas. A link is provided in the video description for you to take advantage of that great offer. Approaching both SUVs, they have smart entry systems with branded key fobs. They also have sensors behind the door handle, and after opening up the doors, you'll see spacious and tech-filled cabins. Before we dig into the tech and features, let's start with the seats. They have black Softex leatherette seating for their XSE trim levels, and the only difference is the color of the accenting in the middle. Additionally, they have 10 ways of power adjustment with lumbar support, and are heated for those of you in cold climates. Only the RAV4 has two-person memory abilities. Now once we climb inside the cabins, we can check out the major point category of material quality. This is where you start to see some sacrifices on the Corolla's end for the price. The materials aren't bad per se, but they have a less solid and premium feel than the RAV4. The RAV4 has quite a bit more soft touch plastic and leatherette to class up the cabin. Firing the Toyotas up, you'll see a new 12.3-inch digital cluster on the RAV4 this year, compared to a 7-inch helper display on the Corolla. The RAV4 also has an available head-up display, but not on the XSE trim. And, moving back, they both have heated, leather-wrapped steering wheels. Only the RAV4 has rain-sensing wipers. Now it's time to evaluate a major interior section, storage. This is a big difference between these two, since the Corolla Cross is pretty much identical to the sedan, with a tight center console and limited storage beyond that. Meanwhile, the RAV4 shines like the California sun, with a gigantic center console, large and deep cup holders, plus a passenger storage shelf. It'll get a point here, and both of them have wireless phone chargers. Thankfully, Toyota has left the traditional shifters on both models, and when in reverse, you'll see an advanced 360 camera on the RAV4, which is not available on the Corolla Cross. As far as climate controls, both have dual-zone automatic setups. And as far as audio, we have different JBL audio systems. Let's go ahead and take a sample. While neither audio system will knock your socks off, the RAV4's does have a richer sound with its 2 extra speakers and a subwoofer. When we first opened up the doors, I said these two were tech-filled, and that is mainly because of these advanced displays. The RAV4 gets a big upgrade for 2023 to this 10.5-inch display. The Corolla Cross will have to make do with an 8-inch display instead, and both are running Toyota's newest software with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto abilities. Both have auto-dimming mirrors with HomeLink remotes, but only the RAV4's is also a camera mirror when you flip the switch. It also has the optional panoramic sunroof, which is something not offered on the Corolla Cross. So the RAV4 has more storage and more tech features than the Corolla Cross, but does it have a significant space difference in the rear? To answer that question, we need not go any further than the specs. The RAV4 comes in at a whopping 16% more legroom than the Corolla Cross, although headroom is nearly identical. Despite that difference in rear space, they have the same feature set, with standard vents, USB ports, and fold-down center armrest. The RAV4 can get heated rear seats, but once again, it isn't available on the XSE trim level. Moving out back, the two crossovers have power tailgates, but only the RAV4 has hands-free foot activation. Unsurprisingly, once the tailgates open up, the RAV4 is going to have a significant advantage when it comes to cargo space. Behind the second row seats, the RAV4 comes in a massive 54% larger, and with them folded, it still retains about a 12% advantage. Alright, we're done with the interiors now, so it's time to take this comparison out to the streets. So as you've seen throughout this comparison, these two are closer to each other in terms of space and features than you'd think. But with that substantial price difference, we see a large difference under the hood. While both models are offered in hybrid form, which is what we have today, the RAV4 will be using the larger 2.5-liter 4-cylinder setup, which makes 11% more horsepower at 219 versus 196 in the Corolla Cross. We tested both these models out for a full week, and the RAV4 has the better acceleration and feels less strained. Alright, so there we go. Off to the races with the RAV4 Hybrid. Now, like we mentioned at the spec dump, actually the RAV4 Hybrid is more powerful than the traditional gas powertrain option. And that is 60 miles per hour. We have 196 horsepower. That gas model has 169 horsepower, so a pretty decent power advantage on board. As far as the transmissions, both the RAV4 and Corolla Cross use efficient eCVTs, and they have standard all-wheel drive systems. As you're probably noticing, we do have an eCVT for your transmission. We also have standard all-wheel drive with the hybrid models. Now, when it comes to getting power to the ground, you do have standard all-wheel drive with the Toyota hybrid system here on the RAV4. That's because you have the electric motor on the back that can kick in and give you that extra traction when needed. And power is going to be routed through an eCVT. Now let's talk about an important part for any family SUV, the ride quality. Both are comfortable for their respective segments, but the RAV4 once again takes the lead. It has the more premium suspension tuning and more comfortable seating, which makes it the better overall experience.
And I've been very impressed with it. This entire week that we've been driving it around, I think the ride quality is one of the most impressive bits. It does a very good job of taking out any harshness that you're going to feel. I have to say I'm very, very impressed with the ride quality of this RAV4. It really just does a phenomenal job of soaking up the bumps. I was on a very rough patch of road during my drive, and it did a great job. Also, I will say the seat is very soft and supportive. You'll notice that over several hours of riding in this vehicle.
But that experience isn't all about ride quality. You might be wondering how quiet they are. Tested at 55 miles per hour on local smooth highways, both came in at very similar numbers within 1 decibel of each other, meaning that they are indistinguishable to the average adult ear.
We have settled in at 56.7 decibels as our official Car Confections sound level reading. We settled in 57.4 decibels as our sound level reading for this Corolla Cross Hybrid.
Since we have been testing Toyota hybrids out kind of back to back, we've done several different models. This one is the loudest of the group. Lastly, fuel economy is a strong suit for both these crossovers. They are incredibly efficient and rated at an impressive 40 and 42 mpg combined for the RAV4 and Corolla Cross respectively. That is less than the 5% difference required to score a point. That being said, we drove both models for hundreds of miles during our week-long test, and surprisingly, the RAV4 came out ahead of the Corolla Cross in our real-world fuel economy test. While the RAV4 achieved its rating, the Corolla Cross underperformed, probably due to the less powerful hybrid system straining more. In the real world, we have an 8% difference, which is enough for a point. But as promised, let's talk a little bit about the real-world experience, because I think this is a very important thing when it comes to this Corolla Cross, because we mentioned just last week we had the RAV4 Hybrid, so this is kind of something important to consider, because our real-world fuel economy we got over a pretty lengthy amount of travel, 37.3 miles per gallon, so you'll notice that that is below the EPA rating. With the RAV4 Hybrid, which we went on a similar circuit of all around Kentucky, seeing family and things like that, we achieved a higher rating than that. We actually achieved the EPA rating. The Corolla Cross also has a much smaller 10-gallon fuel tank, which means you'll be stopping more to fill up. Before we wrap up, let's revisit a big point between the two: the price. The Corolla Cross is the value option, coming in at $6,420 less than the RAV4. According to our value chart, that will award it 6 points. As always though, I'll remind you that if money matters less to you, feel free to disregard these points. So there you have it. The objective winner is the RAV4. But now let's go ahead and talk about who should be your winner. Well, your winner should be the Corolla Cross if you value Best value is one of the most important aspects. It's going to be quite a bit less expensive in an equivalent trim level versus the RAV4. Other thing to consider would be the premium lighting, since you do have that fancy adaptive lighting on the Corolla Cross, and you also have a little bit of a sleeker design instead of the boxier look.
Yeah, and the RAV4 should be your winner if you value most the luxury and tech goodies. It certainly does have more of those offered on the higher-end models, as you would expect, because it is a more expensive vehicle. But if you're one of those people that really likes all the luxury and tech goodies, the RAV4 is going to be your choice. Additionally, it does have more space in the rear seats as well as the cargo area, and overall, it's going to have a lot better of a powertrain experience from its hybrid system, as you saw in the test drive portion of this video. But that's going to be where we leave off on this comparison between the RAV4 and Toyota Corolla Cross. We want to know what you all think down in the comments below. Are you going for the more expensive RAV4? Are you going for the more affordable Corolla Cross? We want to know your opinions. Now, if you're already a fan and supporter of the channel, we really appreciate your continued support because you do make this all possible. And if you're not, we want to welcome you in to this Car Confections family. We post a lot of car reviews, a lot of comparisons that I'm sure you won't want to miss out on. So be sure to hit that subscribe button down below to stay up to date on the latest car videos. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.